this is going to come together is through community efforts and collaboration. It's not going to come through enforcement measures, and it's not going to come through law enforcement. It's going to
Good to see you again. New school. Thanks. Very good. Yeah.
From our department.
Pretty good turnout here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Everybody, I think it's like
Hey, you Lee.
Other one capacity or another. So it's like
You know I look like a teenager.
Well, guys,
and they look pretty.
Now you look old like me. Go talk to the guys if you want to.
Just mentioned, and then including Grant are all above 3.5.
I had that at one point. That's why I started getting harder classes.
Oh. You on your toes.
Well, I went down to Carlsbad.
Rust to be in relation to the ships. This deal, the 60 will be all right. Sure.
So where are the other three proposed?
Not very far off the road.
I'm surprised you can see this. You're supposed to watch these guys move up and down.
Forest Services. Sorry. All I was going to do a handoff to y'all, but let folks know this is landing zone 26.
26.
And then the existing permit that they're operating under, and it continues, plus some others in the analysis for reissuing the existing permit for this process. The folks here, I'm going to do a handoff to Colonel Andresen and Lieutenant Colonel Deacon and Scott.
No, they got it.
So, have at it.
As Scott was saying, we're going to open up an opportunity to go talk to the crews and walk through the airplanes and then see. And then, are we still doing a hoist demo?
Yes, sir.
Then we'll do a hoist demo with the 60 afterwards, so you can see kind of what a rescue might look like. I'd like to point out that we have mixed crews as we normally do. Half of these are federal active duty military like myself. Some of them are Air National Guard from the 150th Special Operations Wing out of Kirtland Air Force Base. So they're guardsmen. They're the militia construct from the state of New Mexico. So they're people who live and work here on a daily basis, whereas some of us on the active duty will go from place to place. So I'll open up the forum for any questions, but otherwise what we wanted to do is we wanted to get you out to talk to the airplane, or talk to the crews and see the airplanes.
What kind of
We're just teaching students how to land at a remote site high altitudes. You know, there's a variety of landing zones in the state of New Mexico, and it's hard for a student to always go to the same one and get proficient at going to someplace he may not see in the future until he actually lands it. So this is an opportunity for us to train them how to land here. We don't have any other types of operations going on here on a regular basis. The operations we do here other than practice landings and takeoffs. Where's my PJ? So I believe from time to time we do bring some of you out here.
No, sir.
Okay.
We work with the helicopters. We work on real world missions somewhere in New Mexico.
Yeah, it's windy.
When we interact with the 58th aircraft, it's usually training there on Kirtland, or we're on a real world mission with them, recovering lost hikers or children off of camping trips.
What do you do at Cunningham Drop Zone? That I thought was the place that supported the land-based operations.
Cunningham Drop Zone is a drop zone that is designated for us to do parachuting operations, but we haven't done parachuting operations out here in many years. We use, what was the last time you saw where we do our tactics training at. So primarily we stay down there to do our tactics. The drop zone was built so that we could incorporate the parachuting portion of our job into the search and recovery mission.
How many days about per year is this site used?
How many days per year? I think what we're looking for is about 300 to 400 landings maximum here on this, in this area, on the 3 sites that are proposed. And we'll have that laid out in the next iteration of the paperwork that we put out. But, if that's all done in a couple of days, that's all we're looking for. If we do it over the season. Generally, it's Monday through Friday, there's a little bit of weekends. We wouldn't consider this an area that we use heavily.
So in other words, you were saying that, well, we've said this before, but there's a lot of new people here. In that EA, it says 208 training days per year per drop zone just for the Ospreys. And that would be, therefore, and that was just for one aircraft. There's also another. So in other words, those numbers aren't accurate, right? Or then,
Well, again, the EA is kind of a worst case strategy to estimate your use so that you have less of an impact. So you look at a worst case usage, knowing that your impact will be significantly less. And then the percentage will actually spell out how much we use that.
why did you need the other 3 drop zones also all around here?
The idea is kind of to balance the use so we don't overuse one area in particular.
They're just spreading it out, though.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it says in the thing that this right here, it said was like about 7 acres reduced to bare rock, and
Kirkland folks have a contractor hired, and I don't know, that rep didn't make it today. I don't think there was.
So
I know
they
she wasn't
pick the
able to-
agency they want, and that's it.
What's that?
They pick the agency they want to do the evaluation.
Well, I mean, there are.
That's kind of like letting the fox in the door.
Yeah, but there are multiple contractors for environmental analysis throughout the United States. They're one of them, okay? And they'll provide the information to the Forest Service. We have our own subject matter expertise that goes along with that. So, and I don't want to put her on the spot, but we have an extremely capable young lady standing right there that's our representative. So.
And you have to realize that any use, even by people who live out here, people who drive the roads, hunters, fishermen, there's always an impact. So you manage that impact the best that you can, and you make sure that you're good stewards.
Is to bring it back to natural at a certain point, and fallow again and reseed.
Probably not for 20 years, since you're asking for something to be renewed for 20 years, right?
Right. Obviously, it wouldn't make any sense to bring it back while we're using it.
Right.
But you know, that's a very valid point. It's something that we could put into the permit that once we're done using this, you know, to bring it back to its natural state. We've done that in some areas in the past. We'd have to take a look at it. I mean, the right thing to do would probably be to do some sort of restoration.
How far west do you go?
Just from the sea.
With the landing zone, sea views there is probably about the extent of the landing zone.
And where are the planes coming from? Do they go anywhere? Do you have a flight order? In other words, or is it from wherever you want to come from?
If you're going as far as Abbey in order to go down your planes.
Yeah. Yeah, we do take advantage of the airspace, and generally we come from Kirtland to fly here. We have some training routes that we do fly. We don't specifically restrict all our traffic to one area. We do have training routes, however, that are more heavily used in other areas.
So you're trying to get the permits for all that over there and this here.
No, the only thing we're
No,
trying
sir.
to do is get permits for the.
The Forest Service does not control airspace. The permit is for activity here on the ground and the trading activity up here in the big oaks.
As long as you land here, you're fine, but if you land there, you need another permit.
That's correct.
Well, see, they want to build 3 additional ones, but all on this east side of the bear. So they weren't proposing building.
The direction the wind is coming from will dictate your approach as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big spot, but a windy spot. But I would imagine sometimes some of your missions might be in much more narrow, dangerous, rocky circumstances than this.
They are, and we have other LCs that have those attributes. This just doesn't happen to have those attributes. We have 30 of them, a lot of them on BLM land, some of them on military installations.
So that's not the Monzanos and the Zunis.
There are some LZs in the Monzanos. I'm not familiar with the Zuni ones. There are some on Kirtland, there are some on White Sands.
The map shows
There's quite a few
Zunis.
north of here between
We're there, so we have seen planes, or I have anyway.
All right.
I-40.
All right, on a day like today, what will be your minimal altitude to come in here on a windy day like this? How far are you going to have to, and how low are you going to have to get before you can get to this site, to land?
How low would we fly?
How
if you're landing out here, there is no military.
For a helicopter in this area, you have to be at an altitude that won't cause a hazard to other people, livestock, or structures. So realistically, you can fly at 3 feet as long as you're not posing a hazard to anything. That's FAA. On top of that, though, there are Air Force regulations that push that significantly higher because, that's a dangerous area. So, like I'm a Huey pilot. For us, our minimum is 50 feet. We have certain training restrictions too, that we have to survey the area and make sure that there's no towers and things like that before we go down to that 50 feet. The question about the approach of at what point do you start on the approach path? From an en route altitude, the training that I've done, starting from 100 feet here at this altitude where the air is much thinner, we'd have to start that approach path about a mile out to get from 100 feet down to the touchdown point.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Thank you for that explanation.
Yeah,
Some kind of rationale.
About a mile out.
All right, thanks.
And that's for a smaller helicopter. These larger, heavier weight ones, maybe a mile and a half or 2 miles, they're going to start their approach to slow down. And the approach path, if you can imagine, if you're driving your car and your car was flying, you're going to look for an approach angle that's going to be about right here.
Just the training. I got nothing against your training because you come all once. But it's all if you climb, it's not right.
Yeah, see, we're landing back now that they're
Over here.
Yeah, so we need to get together and figure out what's going on.
They fly helicopters too. We're the Air National Guard Association.
So that's state by state, or?
Every state has an Air National Guard and
On the what's your off-duty, say, you're retired or permanent?
we didn't retire.
They're not under the same command. They have the same.
These guys certainly don't deploy yet, just because their unit isn't self-sustaining yet. They're flying active duty airplanes. They don't have their own airplanes yet. So, but in the future, once they get more people and some airplanes of their own, they'll deploy.
About 1-2 teams sitting sideways. sort of decompress talking to her on the phone.
And secondly, our primary beam is extremely high gain, like an X-band. We've got about a 60 dB gain so you can potentially burn out our receivers.
How far away will that be? Sits on the right side. So usually the aircraft will be on the ridge.
Really? You can stand right here. Because we have an exhaust deflector system that comes out and pushes the exhaust away from the airframe.
But it would blow you away if you went on that side?
Now, if you went on that side, that's where you're going to catch all the heat.
Ah.
Yeah. Because we have so many pieces of sensitive equipment inside the avionics equipment in here. And so this, we have an avionics cooling section in here that keeps our avionics cool. So when you're sitting on the ground, you use the exhaust deflector to push the exhaust away. And then you're using your ECS system to cool down your avionics. Well, without that exhaust deflector, now you have the exhaust coming in, and then this is pulling in hot air. So now you have your avionics cooling is no longer cooling; it's pulling in 500-degree exhaust. So, but all in an effort to keep things cool, maintain the operations. So we have you can tell where an Osprey's been because you can see the two spots. We're training on that with the payload jumps and the jump masters and stuff like that. But I'm not sure how we have officially trained, but it is it's cool. We're finding out so many different things as we continue to fly this airplane in training and in combat. We find out that we're able to do so many things with this type of aircraft. But we also are finding out the limitations. We're finding out, okay, well, we may be able to do that, but is that the smart? Why would you want to do that? Is that the smart thing to do? Yeah, in a lot of cases, it's not so. We just want to do that. Just keep doing this, and we'll figure out something else later on.
Yeah, I mean, one aircraft is not the answer.
Because they come down in the forest, and there's where they have to have a permit.
Teaching us, or tells us where to fly to maintain that 200 feet. That's all good.
No automatic pilot's got
We do have an autopilot.
Was the
Early
first,
screening criteria.
you know, hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's built. It's built.
There's several.
Well, I thought the road to South Canyon would be. Well, my car's.
Yeah, and you know how to do.
No, I don't. I'm totally timid.
Oh, that's what I mean. That's sweet.
That's good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of life. It's
It
astounding.
helps. Yeah, it helps with the observatory.
Yeah, I actually haven't ever driven on it.
That road's a little. I mean, it's for your undercarriage. It's extremely, but it's a very narrow.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot
Well-
of turn. I mean, you have to. If you come on, someone has to back up sometimes on it. It's
Oh
one of
yeah.
those.
Oh, it's that bad because we went up as far as
It's good
some
halfway
trail.
out here.
We went up about 2/3 of the way.
Well, they didn't have to try to put me in that one, but even the air ambulance guy was like, "This is going to be interesting getting you in here." I said, well, I'll take you.
Oh, December, we had 3 hours of sunshine.
The whole month.
Where's this? Ohio, where her brother lives.
All right. I tell people if I know they that thing is $12.
September, I was thinking chili.
This would be for the night maneuver.
I mean, for the night maneuver.
Yeah. The winds are just natural. You said that the wind velocity under the rotors is like 100. Coach coming. Where are they flying it in?
Trying to.
Yes, yes, that's correct. This is, but they do have that drop zone. They said they haven't been using it.
There's a whole bunch. Yeah, they apparently when they start having fun, they can't control themselves hardly.
Well, I was told there.
tactical approach at about 100 feet. So they'll do a full pattern and come back. And it should be right about the tire that you can see about where it was parked previously.
What is a hoist?
The hoist is the cable that
Yeah,
comes in.
okay, so is he going to hoist anything up?
He is. He's going to demonstrate that.
Okay. He's going to hoist the Osprey.
If only.
Just joking.
I think the configuration they've got is
Put on his rocket
If
engine.
they stuff the Osprey, you wouldn't need the Osprey.
Sounds like a moon device.
Yeah,
Really, all it is it's shaped such that in a canopied area, it's heavy. It comes to a little bit of a rounded point at the bottom, and that's so that they can drop it down and it'll work its way down through the trees. Yeah, down. Forest penetrator. They'll get down there, and there's actually 3 paddles that they can open up. You can put up to 3 riders on there, and they can hop on. There's also other configurations they can put. There's a litter on there, so if a guy has to be immobilized, they have to put stuff like a
What he does, what he should do,
strap him into this thing. It's just like a short wire band. That's what he's doing. Very heavy.
That to 80% and higher. But Deeks, how long does it take? What is it about?
Sir, for helicopter pilot training, by the time they're done and they're shipped off to a unit, they'll have total helicopter time, including Fort Rucker, pilot training and then this advanced training, a couple hundred hours of helicopter time. For me personally, I may not be the best specimen. However, for me personally, I didn't feel comfortable thinking that, yeah, I've kind of got this, until I had about 500 hours in the aircraft. So hovering's the most difficult maneuver. It seems like it's easy, but it's probably the most difficult thing we can do because the wind catches you, you're going up and down, and to maintain a steady hover like that, We'll train them, you know, they're ready to go in about 300 hours, but to really be precise and right on with it, probably closer to about the 500 hour mark.
And what you saw there was an instructor crew, highly competent, highly qualified, highly skilled, and you saw how simple that was. It's a lot harder than that if you try.
Apparently.
Yeah. It looked like it was hard.
You know, there you go. So what do we have next, Deeks?
Sir, that's all we had planned for the demo portion.
All right, everybody, that's what we had for the demo portion. You know, I'm not sure when the CV is going to take off. You're welcome to stay for it. You're welcome to stay and ask questions. You're welcome to head on out. But that's the formal portion we had. Does the Forest Service have anything that they want to add?
Thanks for coming out. I mean, that was a pretty major objective for us. So thank you.
Hey, we really greatly appreciate the detail, the information, and the demonstration there, sir.
All right, I appreciate the open communications forum. I truly do, because that was really the objective, was to be able to communicate here and give you guys the information you were looking for. A couple of things, a lot of you have shown or found these 223 blanks. I don't know how these got here. We don't have any weapons that fire these in the unit that we fly out of, but we're going to have to own this and come out here and clean these up somehow. One of the things I found that does belong to us is a chem light. We put these out on a regular basis and we collect them. Every once in a while we'll miss them and we send people back at certain points in time to collect them. The Forest Service is pretty hard on us to make sure we police the area up well. And you know, we try to do what we can.
TV is part of that to the north here not too long ago. That's why I haven't pretty consistent.
Yeah, he's the one that beats us up all the time if we're not cleaning up after.
All right, Dennis. Feet would be very minimal. That's why I asked the glide path, blah, blah, blah.
I made a whole lot of, yeah.
That ain't addressed, and they glossed over it. Trying to whitewash it.
Sure enough. Oh yeah, it's not a wilderness area. I'm sure I'm going to change something.
They trash out San Lorenzo. I'll chase them down.
Oh, I know you.
Same old walkies, you know. Give these guys these guns.
Oh, the one that shot out from Taos to.
No, it's just like us. We do on the fringes. We got to do this to protect the league. And since he was with the bank, yeah, since he's a country hunters and anglers, he's concerned about whatever affects wildlife. So you see him in a lot of places. Oh, hey, we're getting some turning going.
The immediate charge was basically on all of the signals. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking to do LNA for college. Lots of rice. Never around. So.
Well, that was good to see.
Yeah, it really was.
We can find out some news
Gentlemen, thank you.
Yes, that'll be different.
he's heading back home. I think that yes.